Hi, Lydia. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I am so good, and so happy to be here with you.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for honoring the invite. Like I mentioned earlier, I truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much, Lydia. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I am quite excited to have you on the show, Lydia, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation
hmm
to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Lydia, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge
hmm
and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I just do not want to remain in the dark.
Mm.
And that's going to make our conversation today very, 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 very important to me and even to the audience. Now, the second reason why I'm excited to have Lydia on the show is for the sake of the listeners. Lydia, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality information. And that's why when I came across your profile, I was excited because I believe our conversation is going to be insightful. So, to get started with, let's begin first with your introduction. Talk to us
Mhm.
about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious. We want to know how you got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Lydia,
Mhm.
over to you.
Wonderful. Well, I think to give the listeners a really full insight into how I've arrived here, I need to go back to my upbringing. So I was brought up in a Christian household, and I felt that I needed to go out and find my own truth. So at 16 I left home, and then I was kind of on a quest unknowingly to just figure out who I was and what I really believed in. It meant that I kept kind of changing my life, changing my career, and at one point I realized that I had actually just been trying to find myself and find happiness outside of myself. And I made a promise to myself then that I was going to find out, what does it really mean to be truly happy right now in this moment without needing something from the future. And in that, then I'd say that coaching, life coaching, it found me. I didn't really know what it was, but I felt like I needed to do the course. I did the course, and then I ended up training for a long time. And it turned out to be a part of my purpose. And then through the coaching, as I started to understand myself better, it kind of led me onto a bit more of a spiritual path. And through constant kind of seeking and a desire to deepen the the truth of what I was really here for, I then found myself in 2022 really, really surrendering to God and surrendering to a power much greater than myself, saying, you can take everything that I believe to be true about who I am and why I'm here. Take it all. Take my business. Take everything. I just want to know what my true purpose is. Following that, I then experienced 10 days of just complete, absolute spiritual bliss, where it felt like I was walking on a cloud. I wasn't really thinking much. And the following year, so last year, I then ended up experiencing approximately 100 energy clearings, kind of activations that were initiated really through spirit. So I was on my own. And I was told that I'd had a full nervous system reset, which led to many other uh, really out there mystical experiences, which I'm sure we'll get into. But ultimately, I've arrived in this place now where I just know without any doubt that there's just so much more than just this physical experience, and I'm deeply committed now through my work to really bringing people closer to that source energy and liberating them to live their best life.
Amazing. You know, you mentioned some very important words, and that part where you mentioned that you were trying to look for your true purpose.
Mm.
And I think that's very important because many of us, including me before, before I was also just living, basically trying to survive. And,
Mm.
I didn't go after the true reason why I'm on this planet. I was just
Mm-hmm.
living basically. And I believe many folks are still like that. So that part where you mentioned that you got can take your business or that you think are the reason why you're on this planet, that you just want to truly know your true purpose. I found that inspiring because
Mm.
I believe there are still folks like me then who are still stuck in trying to survive and forgetting that they were born for a particular reason. So folks
Mm.
like that getting to listen to Lydia speak now, they begin to have some thought. What if I've just been wasting my time doing nothing? I think Lydia's got a point there. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love that. So yeah, so that's gonna lead to the very first question. All right, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Okay, so let us begin first with this. What do you think your upbringing has to do with your life path? I want us to get
Mm.
started from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think as I was brought up in a Christian household, um, I think that everything's designed on purpose. And even though as a young person, I felt like religion didn't fit me and I felt very estranged from my family, actually, I can see that that was all on purpose. And that if I hadn't have experienced that kind of friction and feeling of not fitting in, I wouldn't have gone on a quest to find out more. And so I think, for everyone, it's really helpful to ask yourself and just consider, well, what if I did choose my parents? You don't have to believe that you did, right? Maybe you're a very science fact based person and you're like, there's no way that that could happen. But, if you are a spiritual person, then you might be able to open yourself up to thinking that that could be a possibility. That if you did choose your parents, why did you choose them? What was the gift in that dynamic for you that's meant you've become the person you are today? And so for me, it pushed me to really deeply seek, and it also gave me a strong foundation in faith. And I think faith is the most powerful, or one of the most powerful energies that we can use in our life.
That's right. I got that. I got that. Faith is so important, very, very important. I got that. Okay, so let us talk about how to get out of this feeling of being stuck in a situation. So let me put it like this. Why do you think so many people feel stuck? Can you
Mm.
talk to us about that?
Yeah, I think that we often stay stuck, and convince ourselves that we're happy when we're not. And I think too many people are saying that they're happy when they're not happy. But the problem is we don't really have the tools to understand how to set ourselves free. So then it becomes easier to stay in those negative behavior patterns, or to stay in the situations that aren't really filling you up. Maybe, you're staying in a job that you don't really love, you're staying in a relationship that you're compromising in, or you're not feeling the best in your body, you're not eating healthily, whatever it might be for you, but you're choosing to settle. It's quite often because we don't have the tools. And once you understand how to journey within, how to go within yourself to understand why you are the way you are, what I've found is that there's one common block that I think everybody has to deal with at some point or another, and that is the fear of not being good enough. And so we all but we tend to stay stuck because we're not connected to our divine inherent worth, knowing that actually we're worthy of not settling.
Oh, beautiful. I got that. You know, while you were talking earlier, you mentioned how you surrendered and all.
Mhm.
So, how can someone learn how to surrender? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, great question. Because it sounds like, you hear people talking about it. Yes, surrender. And then you are quite often left with the question of, yeah, but how? One thing that I learned was that I thought I had surrendered before. I thought I had put my hands up and said, okay, I can't do it. You take over. But actually, what I'd been doing then was I was kind of pretending to surrender. I was doing it for an outcome. So I was saying, look at me, I'm surrendering. And now where's my gift, right? What do I get? What do I get now that I've surrendered? So surrendering, it isn't giving up, it's getting out of the way. And when you get out of the way, you're making space for an energy that's far greater than you to step in and make it easier for you. And to do that, it's really about relinquishing this idea that you're responsible for everything. And I have to kind of caveat that because on one hand, I say that you are entirely responsible for your happiness. And as in, you have to claim your happiness and know that it is for you and it is yours. And at the same time, you don't have to push, you don't have to suffer, you don't have to struggle in life when you have faith. So the key component in actually really being able to get out of the way and stop struggling and stop making your life hard is to use faith. And then so you get yourself out of the way of like trying to think about it all and make it all happen, and you give it to God and you say, okay, I'm going to hand this to you because maybe I'm just like this tiny little person who doesn't really know, and actually there's a greater plan.
Wow, Lydia, this is amazing. You know, you said surrender isn't giving up, it is simply getting out of the way. I felt
Mm-hmm.
that. That's amazing. Okay, okay. I love it, I love it. All right, so let us talk about the key to feeling truly fulfilled. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. In my experience, and I've been helping people for 15 years, no matter what it is you think you want, what your goal is, whether it's to earn more money, to change your career, to fall in love, ultimately we think we want those things because we think that they're going to make us happier. But we're placing then our happiness at some point in the future. And what I've come to understand is that actually true fulfillment is within you. It's not in the next external pursuit. But to access it, there needs to be a full acceptance of oneself. So oftentimes we're seeking outside of ourselves because there's an inner void. There's something that feels like it's missing on the inside. And when you have that, it's really a signal that it's time to go on a journey within. It's time to heal the relationship you have with yourself. Because once you've healed the relationship that you have with yourself, you're now closer to your true nature. And that really is source energy. It is the creation energy. It's the nature of everything. And when you come back to that, you now have your wholeness. You remember who you really are. And from that place, from that remembering, you're no longer without because you're within, and you can hold on to your fulfillment even when you don't get the client, or when you lose the relationship, or you when you don't feel like you're winning in life, right? And that's the problem, is that we're taught that you need to win at life to feel fulfilled, when actually you feel fulfilled and then you'll win.
I got this. It sounds like you read my article because I wrote an article yesterday on this particular topic, and
Hmm.
you're just repeating what I wrote, and it's amazing. Wow.
I'll have to
Okay,
read it.
so yeah, okay, I think I'll send it to you. All right, so we have two more questions to go. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
just so curious about this one. What is channeling?
Hmm.
Channeling, can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, so the year that I was having these activations, and my nervous system was reset, it opened up a gift to be able to channel. So I have the ability to connect to everything. And my understanding is that everything is conscious, because everything is energy. Um, and through the resetting of my nervous system, it's a bit like I've become the best radio station, not station, the best radio that there is available. Because this machinery, our physical self, it is able to receive multiple different streams of information, except most of us are not receiving it, or are not acknowledging it, because we haven't been made aware that we're able to do that. So we've kind of shut ourselves down. So through this giant reset that I experienced, kind of opened up all of these receptors, and now I'm able to channel information that is non-physical. And essentially what that information is, it's consciousness, which is a form of light, and light holds information. And that light comes in through my intention, and then I'm able to process it, decode it, and then I speak it. So often I might connect to my guides, my clients' guides. I've connected with angels and masters, even the kind of soul of people who are alive. I can read your heart energy. I can read dogs. I've read my friend's dog. Trees have spoken to me. So everything has energy, and I'm able to read it. And then I channel it as a verbal channel.
Wow, amazing. That's amazing. I got that. Okay, the last one.
Mhm.
Why is meditation so important?
Mm. Yeah, I think a lot of the time when we are wanting to be on this path, the spiritual path, there's so much out there, isn't there? There's so many different practices and principles, and knowing what's right for you, it can be a little bit confusing. But I think the one thing that really keeps you on your
I got that. So, in order to bring this to an end, Lydia, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you're doing, you've shared with us so many amazing stuff, and it resonated, love to learn more. How can that be possible? Beautiful. So what about those ones who would like to reach out to you, like a website or a contact? Beautiful, I got that. So that's gonna be the end of the show, Lydia. Thank you so very much for coming and thank you for sharing this amazing stuff with us, I truly appreciate it. Thank you.